Hi everyone, my name's Michelle and I'm Mama Loves You GB here on FlossTube, but also over on Instagram and Etsy as well. Welcome to the Sunday morning briefing. I totally forgot to look to see what programme we're on. I'm just a little bit distracted already because I put my ring light on. So it's not a ring light, it's not a ring light for epic studio production. It's the ring light off my magnifier, and I just always use it because I rarely use the magnifier. And it's sort of pulsing a little bit, so if you see the light suddenly go up and come back down again, we're not in the middle of a lightning storm, it's just some kind of dodgy electrics. There we are. How's everyone's week been? I've had a lovely week, far better than last week, which thank you to everyone who sent me some kind wishes. It wasn't bad. It wasn't a bad week, it was just one of those epically frustrating weeks. And we all get them from time to time. And let's hope they stay from time to time. What you're going to see today is I've got 3 FFOs to show you. 2 are mine. One was an exchange piece that I was sent. I've got some stitching, some Stitchy Kindness. I've got quite a lot of haul again because I really shouldn't be left unattended, and also my Expo haul. The things I'd ordered for Expo came in. And I do have another sampler to show you that I have acquired. So I'm going to get started. I'm going to start off with my exchange piece, I think. So I'm part of an exchange group, and there are stitchers in America and stitchers in the UK, and we get paired up. So I've sent something to somebody in the States, and then I had another partner. So it's not a direct swap, it's a kind of circular swap. And I was extremely lucky that my partner was Liz from Elizabeth Ann Can Stitch, and she sent me, it was a Halloween theme this time, so she sent it all in a little bag across the pond, the lovely Halloween card, which I'm sad we don't have. I haven't seen any Halloween cards around, so I was sad that I couldn't send my stitch partner a Halloween card, but very happy to put that on the mantle. And then she sent me some sweeties, some candy corn, not the hard ones, but they're like a kind of a fudgy type one. They've got little pumpkins and candy corns and things. I meant to bring the bag up, but I forgot. But they are tasty, very tasty. And she sent me, like I said, she sent me my exchange piece, which I'll show you in a minute, and it came with this little library card with the threads and the fabric that she used, so I can tell you everything about it. So this is a beautiful little stitch of Brenda Gervais, Witch's Night Out, which I do have the pattern for, but I don't have to stitch it anymore. 40 count, Picture This Plus Legacy, and the call for flosses. So look at that, and it's finished in this nice frame, which looks like she's painted, and this great pom-pom trim. I really like the way she's finished it. I would definitely look for something along those lines. So thank you so much for that, Liz. I was absolutely over the moon. Oh, the lights going. Maybe it's a spooky edition, I don't know. The lights are going, and yeah, I'm just so in love with it. It's been sat on my mantle all week since it arrived. Mine is on the way over to the pond, and I didn't actually take any photos of it before I sent it, but that does not matter because I am stitching one for myself as well. I liked the finish so much that I'm actually restitching it for myself. So I will show you it once I know, well, once I finished it, and once I know that the person has received the first version of it. I have finished a couple of pieces of my own. I'm going to show you the first one because it's probably long awaited, because I showed you it in progress, and this is actually going to be a new release for me. I showed you it in progress a few weeks ago and then said, yeah, hopefully that week it would be on my Etsy store. Well, no, it didn't happen, but it will be up tomorrow. I've done the finishing of it today. I just need to take a couple of pictures of it tomorrow. And it's the stitch that is based on these button cards, these bingo cards. And I just loved these. I I absolutely love these. I've got a couple of them. And so I decided to recreate and make it into a little pillow. Now I need to fettle it just a little bit and get it lying just a little bit straighter. But this is my finish. This is my finish. So what you'll get with the chart is the outline for the bingo board, and basically when you stitch it, you stitch the bingo and then you stitch the 25 squares, and I give you a series of numbers as well, and it's up to you where you want to put the numbers and which numbers you want to put in. So for example, I've put in 03 because that was my dad's birthday, 22 is my mum's birthday, 23 is Ness's birthday, 79 is the year I was born. Who else? I've got 43 because that's how old I am. So I just picked numbers that had a little bit of significance to me, and then I picked out just a random selection from my button box, and I've done a blue velvet backing to it. I love backing things with velvet. It's one of my favourite things to do. And I did the stitch method where you stitch around the outside, leave a little gap, and then do a sort of a sew at the bottom. Now I had wanted, well, I thought I wanted to put a trim on it, but every trim I put on it just didn't look quite right. I think it needs to be quite a straightforward finish for the buttons to show. I think it would look really nice on as a flat fold as well. I think that would look really sweet as a flat fold. So all I did was I stitched the bingo board, filled in my numbers, and then on the back I ironed on some lining onto the back, and then I put my buttons on afterwards because I knew I wouldn't be able to put the lining on after I'd sewed my buttons on. And then just followed a simple tutorial to make it into a pillow, and I stuffed it this time with Kapok. So I managed to buy a big box of Kapok, actually at a charity shop. It was just a big unopened bag. Well, it came in a bag, but they put it in a box of Kapok, so that's what I filled it with. And so, as I said, the chart for this will be in my Etsy shop tomorrow. It won't be very expensive. I tend to price my charts on a sort of a bang for your buck mark. So if I think it's going to take you a long time to stitch, it'll be a little bit more expensive. You'll get more enjoyment for your money. If it's a nice little chart like this, it's not going to be very expensive. I think I'm going to set it at £4.25. So that'll be the price. What Etsy will do with that for your particular region with the taxes is up to their rules and regulations. But yeah, it'll be £4.25 from me, and then you can make this cute little bingo. I'll just pop that over there again. Really happy with that. Do you think I'll get a screenshot out of this? We'll never know. I never normally get one. I normally get one where I'm like that. So there we go. Just a bit of fun, just a bit of fun. And then the other thing that I finished, if you follow me on Instagram, you will have seen this finish. I was doing a stitch along with Sarah and Yasmin's Made with Love, and they were doing the Love Poppet Rockin Robin. And so I decided to stitch along with them. So I stitched mine on a 36 count Desert Taipan by Fox and Rabbit that I got from the Fabric of the Month Club. I don't know why I struggle with that every time. I can't think what to call it. I got the fabric from there, and I actually turned mine into a sulky conversion. And then I did one of my favourite finishes, which is just a really simple hanging finish. So you just get 2 circles of card, and then you, as if you're going to do a drum top, so you just put the stitch piece over, sew around the edge, gather it round on the back, pull it nice and tight, and do the same with your fabric piece. And then, because I'm a bit of a nightmare with glue, I actually just sew mine together, just really small stitches, and sew them together. And then I use pins there's actually two colours of pins here. There's a dark green and a light green, and I just push them in between the two pieces of card and use that as a finish, and then I just put a little bit of ribbon on the top. But I had this fabric which just fitted absolutely perfectly, and I've actually gone and bought, there is another one on their website which is a deer, so I've gone and bought the deer because I think they'll make a really nice pair. So I'll put the picture of the deer up there because I haven't printed it out yet. But I just grabbed as well my other finishes that I've done in this method. So I showed you my ER one, my Royal Cipher, a couple of weeks ago, but the first one I actually did was a Pinker and Pumpkin Blogspot freebie, which is the little sheep sat in the leprechaun hat for St. Patrick's Day, and just finished like that. And it's just such a simple finish because you don't have to get the sewing machine out. It finishes up quite quickly. There's nothing really difficult in doing it. This one I just put a little beaded hanger on it, whereas these have got, oops, whereas these have all got fabric hangers. Not fabric, ribbon. Ribbon. There we are. So happy with those. So if you've got a round object and you don't know quite how to finish it, or something you could make round, you could just drop it on the floor if you prefer. Oh dear. Then you can do that. Now the pins, I bought from Amazon a pack of about 10 different colours of pins. Now these pins are the pearl finish ones, and then I bought, now the eagle-eared amongst you will know that that's just fallen down behind the radiator, but it should have come back out the bottom. I actually bought another set of pins. Let's see if I can not chuck any more of them on the floor. And these are little glass ones, so they're smaller than these ones, than the pearl-headed pins, but they are glass-headed pins. And it was a set of lots of different colours, and I think it was about £10. So there's some red, some darker green, some yellow, what else have we got? Orange, blue, black, green, white, and then we've got some, they're either brown or purple, I can't tell in this, but I think they're purple, and some turquoise. Now the only thing with this finish is if they're going to be around small children, the pins are just pushed in. So if you wanted them to be in there permanently, you'd have to put some glue between the two bits. So you could put some glue between the two bits, quickly sew it round and then push the pins in, and then by the time everything dried you wouldn't be able to get those pins back out again. I've had my health and safety hat on this week, so, so yeah. And I'm being struck down for it. Right, before I get on and show you what I've been stitching, I am going to show you my freebie and some beautiful Stitchy Kindness that I've had. I've been so lucky the last 2 weeks, it's just been unbelievable. I will be, just a heads up, I won't be doing a FlossTube next week because I will be at the retreat. I am so excited. So excited. Even more excited now that I realised that there was actually a Facebook group for the retreat, so that I've now joined it. So yeah, that's made it even more exciting. So my freebie for this week, and I've partly chosen this because I've actually stitched it, so I thought it'd be nice for once just for you to see what it looks like. And it's super small as well, and it could be finished like the ones I've just shown you. So this is by Pinker and Pumpkin Blogspot, and it's called Happy Cat. And I finished mine, let me just fettle it slightly. I finished mine into a little tiny tin. I'd actually bought these tins for something else, because when I bought them they give you a tin measurement, and so I was never sure whether they measured from the outside or the base. FYI, they measure from the outside. So I ended up with smaller tins than I thought I was getting, but he still looks quite cute in there. So he was stitched on a piece of, it's either 28 or 32 counts of turquoisey fabric that I dyed myself, and then I cut this kind of like felt border I just stuck in there, and I think he looks quite fun just as a little Halloween finish. And he was literally a couple of hours stitching, not even that probably. And I've got another tin because I thought what I might try and do, I don't think there is a pattern for a female cat, but I don't think it would be too hard to move the bow up there and make her look a little bit more feminine. So that was my freebie. Now my Stitchy Kindness. I had a lovely email from a lady called Pauline, email or Instagram, I can't remember which, and she is started making bags, project bags. Now these bags are amazing. She asked if she could send me one, and so I said yes, that'd be lovely, thank you. And I have actually already bought another one from her, because I've been in this boat before, guys, where I've shown you something and then gone back to buy myself the one that I wanted and you've bought them all. So this time I went and bought the one I wanted before I told you about it. So she is going to be selling them, or she has already got them, on Instagram, and the Instagram is called So Be Bags, and I'll put the handle across the screen there so you can grab it. But she is making them like this. Just show it, Michelle, just show it. So I've had this one kind of folded up this way, it's needs to just hang a little bit. So you've got blackbird fabric, and then this beautiful applique pumpkin with different fabrics, and then more blackbird fabric on the back, and then lovely little tag, and on the inside it's got some nice pink to match the roses. So it holds an 11 by 11 Q snap. Let me just make sure I'm getting the right details. I think they're about 15 by 15, I seem to remember, but they hold an 11 by 11 Q snap really comfortably. So I don't use a Q snap, but I am going to put a big project in here. I've got some big projects on the go, I've got some big projects in mind. I may even put Anne Grimshaw in here, because she's got a book and she's got photocopy pages and she's got a big bit of fabric. So yes, and I will have this for the retreat on the weekend. So I'm going to be a fancy pants at the retreat. In fact, I might have two by then, because the other one might have come. I'll put a picture of the other one that I've ordered, because it was green and I liked it. So that's Pauline at So Be Bags. I'm sure I read, I can't remember if I read on her profile or in the email that she sent me, she used to be a dressmaker. So they are beautifully, beautifully made. Dressmaker or seamstress, something in the trade anyway. A woman who knows how to wield a sewing machine. So beautifully made, beautifully wadded, absolutely amazing. So I was so happy with that, so happy with that. Stitching. So what else have I been stitching on? Well, on the 1st of October I started a stitch along, and unlike some of the other stitch alongs that I may have started, I've actually been doing this one because I love this design. This is by Pauline, who is Rebel Stitch Designs. This is called Una's Urn, and the strapline, the hashtag is Una's Urn Sal, and you can get that as a PDF. And this is where I am. So I have not got, let's go over that side, I have not got much more to go on this one. I've just got to finish the bottom of my urn and finish the pumpkin there, add those 2 stitches there that I forgot, and then there's a little white pumpkin there. So what I did was I just chose colours that were similar. I think I happened to have the right orange, which was WIPS Clockwork, and I had Hickory Sticks and Onyx, and then I've just made the rest up really, but in line with the stitch, so it looks similar. And I'm either going to finish this as a little pillow, or I quite fancy seeing if I've got an oval frame for it, because I quite like, I finished my Queen, she's just there, I might as well show you her. I'd finished that one in an oval frame and I really liked it, and I'm pretty sure I've got another one somewhere, so I think I might finish that in an oval frame. So jump on the cell. We've all had a bit of a tickly cough. We ended up doing COVID tests in the week because our friend who lives in Australia came to see us today. Today and yesterday. She stayed over the night, and so we just wanted to make sure that we didn't have the dreaded COVID to pass on to her to ruin her trip. And so, yeah, that's where the tickly cough came from. Well, it didn't come from her. It probably came from school, to be honest. But I know it's not COVID. It's just a tickly cough. And then the other thing that I stitched on, which is in this lovely bag by Penelope's Pocket. I left the tag on it just so that I would know, although it does say on the reverse as well. This is a present from Christina from Whilst Iris Snaps for my birthday, the bag, and it came with scissors and all sorts of other lovely stuff. But in it I am keeping my, what's that, random bit of paper. I am keeping, you know when you get a chart you don't put it back in the right order so you can't show it. There we go. Plum Street Samplers, Olga's Autumn Stocking. And I have, this never shows up very well, but let's see if we can get there with it. I've done a little bit more on this because I haven't worked on it for a little while. Well, it's not too bad today actually. So I've done the top of the tree, and I've come down, and I'm still in the process of coming down through there. I'd parked that white thread because I knew I'd made a mistake somewhere in the window, so I had to go back and fix that so that I could then make sure they were right. The bit that's not showing up terribly well is there's a couple of lighter yellow leaves which do show in person, but they never show in this light here. So yeah, building this house, and then if I can get, if I can get that top bit sort of done there, I should be quite happy with that, because then you've got Olga and then going down into these big pumpkins in the toe. So I don't think it's going to be finished for this autumn, but it'll be finished. And I have actually, I did a little bit of Halloween fabric buying, and I think I've ordered a fabric that would look really cool on the back of that. So when that comes next week, I will show you, and I will share it with you where I got it from as well, because I found a really good shop on eBay in the UK which has got some really nice fat quarters in it, and reasonable prices, really reasonable. So there we are. Still can't see the yellow, but they are there. Okie dokie. I also made a list of some FlossTubers. I have been, I'll throw it all on the floor and pick it up later. Some FlossTubers that I have been watching this week, on the back of a summary sheet that I wrote for my Year 11s. So I watched and absolutely loved every second of it. Michelle at the Striped Rose. She cracks me up. So funny. Her dog started trying like licking in the background. She just turns around and goes, "Hector, have some dignity." I was just roaring. She's quite harsh with herself about mistakes that she makes and things like that. It's so funny. She's so lovely. And then I realised that I just hadn't watched her for a long time, so I started watching a few on the back catalogue. The other person that I did with that, I suddenly thought to myself today, I haven't seen Jen's stitching niche for a long time. And so I went and found the latest episode. Well, she's moved house, she's moved jobs. I'm like, I am behind the times. So I'm now going to have to watch back to the point where I can find out why she's moved, why she's got a new job. But I do like watching her. She has lovely projects, and the walls of her new flat are already decorated with these beautiful samplers and things that she's put up. And I'm thinking, you know, I walk into this room and I think, well, I've had that there for 6 months and that's been sat there for a year and I've still not put it on the wall. So fair play, she's done well. Who else did I watch? I watched Rebel Stitcher because yeah, well, she tagged me about that, so I knew she'd done a new video. But I also just love watching her. She's always got really cool stuff to show. Crafty Stitchers, who are Steve and Heather. They're from Gloucester. Rude, Steve, you tagged me in a video just to tell me that you haven't worked on my stitch along. I watch anyway. As soon as they release a video, I watch because they're so much fun. But I was coming along and we got to the bit that we're both stitching the Phantom Plantation, and he pretty much held it up and said, yeah, I haven't worked on this one. And put it away again. Thanks, Steve. Thanks. And the other person that I've been watching today is Mama Bear Stitchery. And I realised, I showed you last week a little Mill Hill kit that I'd got with a bear in a canoe. And I think I said that I'd seen it on Amy Loves Toads. I may have done as well, but I definitely seen it on Mama Bear Stitchery as well. So apologies for getting that wrong. But yeah, all of those, go and have a look. Go and have a look. Our competition from last week. So we are working with last week's competition. And I said I'd let it run for 2 weeks, which is going to be next week. So I'm going to be at the words today retreat. I wanted to call it a stitchery. Why did I want to call it a stitchery? Like an owlery. We're all going to be there, like in an owlery. Anyway, so I'll leave it till after then, because I did say 2 weeks. So I don't want to cut anybody off in their prime and not give them a chance to enter. So it was for this one, which is called Halloween at the Tower by Samplers and Stitches. So if you want to enter for this, you need to go back to the previous video and just put the word Raven, and then I'll put you in the entrance for this. And we haven't been hacked. The hackers have gone. The porn people, however, did try and put a couple of little pieces up, but I soon got rid of them. They were okay. They're not as persistent. They're not as persistent. Probably got no energy left. Right, I'm going to pause here and just gather me haul closer, gather it all in, and then I'll be back in 2 seconds. Okay, I've gathered it all up now. So the first thing is I bought to go to the retreat, and I wanted a little kind of pouch thing just to have open that had all my bits and bobs in it, because I will take up all of the available space, and so I just had visions of me being on a table with everybody else and my stuff will just creep out, and so I wanted to have something to try and keep me nice and contained. And so I bought one of these. It's actually, I think it's meant to be a wash bag, because it has got a what do you call it, a wipeable lining on the inside. But the reason I liked this one is because when you unzip it, it folds completely flat. Now obviously it needs a little bit of telling what to do, but it folds completely flat like that, so I can have it open with all my bits and bobs in it. And the other reason that I liked it is because this is my little sulky box. It fits a sulky box in nicely. Now that was the smaller of the two sulky boxes that I bought. This is the larger of the two, and it even fits the larger one in. So it'll fit a 27 reel box in, and so when it's open on the table like that, you've got your box, and then you've got space for all your scissors and your bits of bobs and things like that there. So yeah, it'll either fit the 27 or it'll fit the smaller one, which is the 18. So I've got that one off Amazon. It's by Post Travel Design. There's quite a few companies that do this sort of design, but I liked this one because it was material rather than some of them which are really obviously wash bags. So I got that. Mustn't forget to tell you about those, because I do have a little bit more Stitchy Kindness, and it's cool. It's cool Stitchy Kindness. Right, let me show you what I got from Expo haul. So the things that came from, I think those are the only two that came from Expo. The rest was just keeping them company. So the two things that I picked up from Expo at the time and pre-ordered from Patchwork Rabbit, and I do have a link to Patchwork Rabbit down below if you fancy. I got the White Winter Moth by Kathy Barrick, which I love. And I also got Wild Flowers by Kathy Barrick. Now, it's stitched on seaweed from Fox and Rabbit, which I think is a really lovely colour. So those were my two Expo ones, and then at the same time I had decided that I was going to get Seasons of the Heart, which is the Brenda Gervais one with Thy Needle and Thread. And so you've got those four. So it's called Spring into Summer, Fall into Winter. So I'm sure you've all seen them. I'm sure I am, as always, late to the party. And they are charted in DMC, WIPS, Gentle Arts and Classic Colourworks. Now I know you can get a 100:3 conversion for these as a kit, although I'm not sure it's available anymore. But I know Brenda and Laura have spoken about it. I'm half tempted to maybe think about a sulky conversion, but I do like the variation on them, so I'll probably just pick what's called for, or as close as. So I'll pick that up. And then I also got Barb's Birds by Needle Made Designs, which I think is glaring. And there we go, let's take it out of there. There we go. So I've got that one as well. And the other thing I got, and I don't know why. I ordered two skeins of Gentle Art Tomato. I have no idea why. I placed the order quite a while ago and they kept everything together. So even though they had these things in stock, they didn't come until those charts from Market Expo, you know what I mean, were ready. So I obviously wanted this at the time. I wonder if it was for, remember the sewing themed little book that With Thy Needle and Thread did? I may have been working on that about that time, so I may have bought the tomato for that. That would make sense. But I'm not really sure. But I do like it as a colour, so it'll definitely get used. And then I had some vouchers from Patchwork Rabbit as well. So I got, what did I get? I got some Fox and Rabbit paperbark, and I got some Fox and Rabbit Mayflower in 32 count. Now you're probably not going to be able to see the real difference between these two. This one I would say is yellower, this one is slightly pinker, but they're both really, really good neutrals. And the reason that I got those two is because for some reproductions that I've got in mind, I've always got reproductions in mind, and at least if I save my bought fabrics for reproductions, then at least I can tell you what I stitched it on and just do my own stitches on fabric that I've dyed myself, because then I don't have to worry about telling you what colour it is, only if you want to try and reproduce it. And I bought this one, Remember Me by the Scarlet House, which I really like. stitched on 36 count Cocoa by WIPS Dye Works. And then I got Plum Street Samplers Jack's Sweet Shop, the Siren's Tart. And that is stitched on 36 count Dolphin. Now I do have some Dolphin, but it's a 30 count. But I also have some Fox and Rabbit that's a similar colour, so I may do it on that. And then a new to me designer. I've never had any of these before, but this one I really liked. The Salem Sisters Apothecary. And that's just crying out for just a really cool bit of fabric. So there was that. And then I got the 13 Spooky Smalls. And I love all of them. And the book, I'll try not to show you if I do that. The book is really brightly coloured, it's got loads of pictures, it's got room for you to write in your notes. The charts are so easy to follow. And to be perfectly honest, to go through this entire book, you're not looking at many colours really. They seem to be stitched in sort of similar colourways. So you've got, love that one. Love that one. Well, I love them all. Cool, cool, cool. So you got 5 there. 5. Some more on the back there. And there must be some more. The trouble is they've all got their stitches right on there. So there's 2 others on the, oh, I can't really show them because there's that one with the broom and then the Hoover in the middle. And then there's that one with the shoes. And what is the other one that's not shown? Is it that one? No, it's not that one or that one. It's not that one or that one. That one. My broom runs on coffee. Try not to show that bit. My broom runs on coffee. So that's all the 13 designs. I just think they're going to be smashing to do because I don't look at this if they're going to take very long, but I think they're going to look really good. And you've kind of got 2 sets, I think. You've got kind of the set that's all oranges and blacks and whites, and then you've got the set which has got the purples in it. But you can just mix and match. And then I bought some threads as well. I bought Gentle Art Onyx, WIPS Dye Works Putty and WIPS Dye Works Caper for a chart which is by I can't remember. I'm going to put a picture of it up there. It was my unicorn, well, it's one of my unicorn charts, and I mentioned it on a stash unload group, I think, and a lady said that she had one that she would sell to me, and so I've got that. And I haven't forgotten Lynn, I will pass it on to you. And I will send that book when I find it too. Right, I bought 3 PDFs this week as well. I bought the Barbara Anna Designs Bonkers sale because they released the full picture of it. It was only a 2-part sale. It looks amazing. It was stitched on 25 count granite. So it was stitched so it was really big, which I quite like. I have got some granite, but it's not 25 count. And then, thanks to Mama Bear Stitchery, I was watching her earlier, she showed this one from the Witchy Stitcher, which is called Poisonous Plants. Now, I don't think I would stitch that on black. I get the gist of it being spooky and all, but I don't think I'd do it on black. Dark, yes, but not necessarily black. And then I wanted this one for ages as well, which is called the Vintage Halloween Carousel, which I think is fab too. I love the Witchy Stitcher things, I really do. And then, yeah, I'll show you these now. So I was contacted by, let me get this right, this lady, Gila Munster. And she sent me a lovely letter, and I'm just going to sort of share some of it with you. And I absolutely love the fact that this person has led a completely different life to me, and we both love cross stitch. We both love cross stitch, and that's why we kind of are now in contact from cross stitch, even though we're totally opposite. Not opposite, that's wrong. Totally different lives. So she is a drag queen performer from Toronto, Canada, and she always watches the briefings. So she's been doing some enamel pins, and she sent me a couple of them, and she says it's a token of appreciation for hours spent together virtually. I think it's lovely. So there's this one. Now these are pins, but you could easily make them into needle minders if you want to. There we go. This one's called Reading Queen, and it says, inspired by a tour she did in the summer in Toronto libraries reading books about diversity to children, also known as the Drag Queen Story Hour, which I think is fabulous. And then this one, oops, is called, see if I can hold it a bit better, Cross-Dressing and Stitching. Is her homage to mixing old crafts with new. So I'll put all the details down below if that's something that you would be interested in. But I just, like I said, I just find it phenomenal that the love of stitching is a common theme, and that it brings together all sorts of different people from all sorts of walks of life. Fabulous. Right, I'm going to quickly show you my plans, because I've got it right here before I show you my new sampler. I've had this for ages. I bought it a long time ago. This is Barbara Anna via Nitka Moscow, and Yasmin's Made with Love has started a birthday stitch along, and she has started Miss Coffee. Now again, I had a look in here earlier and I don't think there is a colour picture of Miss Coffee, so I'm going to put a picture of it up there. It comes with a neutral fabric, and then all of the threads, which are DMC threads, to stitch her with. So I quite thought, I've had this for long enough now, it's worth starting it in honour of Yaz's birthday. So I will put a few stitches into that. I might even take it to the retreat with me next week. Okay, my latest acquisition, the Scottish girl. She is a Scottish girl. Now, she's seen better days in her framing situation, partly because the glass broke on the way to me, which was fine. I probably won't keep her in this frame anyway, but it didn't damage the stitch or anything. So I'll try and hold her up best as she is. There we go. So, typical Scottish sampler. You've got a few alphabets at the top. They like to make sure that they knew their alphabets. Here, where is she? Here is a row of family initials, which I'll need to do a little more digging into to find out who they are. Now, her name is Janet Drummond, and this was stitched in 1812. Now there is a little bit, I'll show you a bit more about the back in a minute. Just there's a little label on the back, which I've taken a picture of, which I'm going to try and enlarge, because I don't think there is another date on here anywhere. So that's going to be interesting to try and work out which Janet Drummond she is, because I'm probably sure there's going to be more than one. So, but I think that little label there is going to have some more information for me. And then we come into, oh, don't lose that bit off the back. Then we come into the eyelet alphabet. And then we've got these motifs at the bottom. So let me try and hold it up there. I love these rows of trees with the deer and the dog in them. And this little row here. I think that's fab. And then you've got a bird bath here, or a fancy fountain with birds either side. Now, unfortunately, I'm pretty sure she's stuck on this board, so there's going to be no getting her off the back, but I don't think she's particularly faded. Now, the reason I had it sent in the original frame, even though the original frame is somewhat lacking in structure, is because of this. So there is a couple of pictures on the back of samplers, and then there is an article about the revival of the sampler from the Lady magazine, and it goes through and gives this appreciation of needlework from the Lady magazine. Now, I need to do a bit more digging to find out when it was printed, which might give me a bit of a clue as to when it was framed. But I love her, love her, love her, love her. Now, when I do get around to charting her, I think what I'm going to do is give you a couple of options. I'll do her as she is, because all of this alphabet work is the kind of style of a Scottish sampler. But I will also do probably just this bottom section and maybe one alphabet and her name as well, so that you can choose whether you want to do lots of alphabets or just a few. But I'm sure I'll be doing some bits and pieces with this bottom section as well. Look at those peacocks there, aren't they amazing? Amazing, amazing peacocks. So that's Janet, me and Janet. She's come to live with me. And actually, it's a funny story. I bought this from Facebook Marketplace from a guy in London, and we agreed a price, and he wanted me to pay him by bank transfer because he didn't have PayPal. And I was like, no, I don't think I'm going to do that. I said, it doesn't really give us any protection about, you know, if it doesn't turn up or anything like that. And he then came back to me and he said, well, I've got a feeling she'll be a good home, she'll have a good home with you, so I'll just send her to you. I'll send her to you, and then when she arrives, you pay me. Which I thought was quite amazing. So he did. She got caught up in the postal strike. Bless him. He'd paid for next day delivery, and it went from London, I saw it on the tracking, it went from London to Norwich, which is totally the opposite direction to which she needed to go. So she eventually turned up about 4 days later, after the postal strike, and obviously as soon as I unwrapped her, I paid him, and he was very happy, and I'm very happy to have her. She's my second Scottish one now. I've got her, and then I've got one from Aaron as well, a red and green one from Aaron. But that's it from me this week, so I won't see you next week because I will be at the stitching retreat, at the stitchery, like an owlery. No doubt having the time of my life, spending far too much money and enjoying it all, and I can't wait to come back the following week and tell you all about it. FYI, I just completely messed that up and then it turned into a massive coughing fit. Stay classy, stitchers.